Welcome back, dear students, for the social class. So, in the last class, we studied about our constitution. In our constitution, we studied about introductory part of our constitution. So, today in this class, let us learn about the salient features of our constitution. So, dear students, we have a different salient features in our constitution. The first and foremost is the written and a lengthy constitution. So our constitution is written down everything clearly and legibly, and a lengthy constitution. Ours is the longest constitution in the world. So our constitution is in written form. Nothing is in the oral form. Everything is written form. The powers and functions are the organs of the government, like the legislature, executive and judiciary, have been defined in the constitution. So the powers and functions are how much power is vested to legislature, how much power is vested in the executive and the judiciary have been clearly mentioned in our constitution. So this is written down only for not to misuse the powers and functions. And the next one is fundamental rights, duties, directive principles of the state policy are all in the written form. Everything, how much power has to be given to the directive principles, state policy, all these things have been written down in our constitution. So originally our constitution consisted of 22 chapters and 8 schedules and 395 articles. That is parts, 8 schedules mean parts. But dear students, currently at present, our Constitution of India has 448 articles, and we have 25 chapters and in 12 schedules. Dear students, so far we have 104 amendments. The last amendments that it took the Indian Constitution is on January 25, 2020 as the last amendments that had been made to our Indian Constitution. The second feature of our Constitution is the partially flexible and partially rigid. What do you mean by flexible and rigid? So the constitution which can be easily amended is called as a flexible or a simple constitution. What do you mean by amendment? Amendment can be changeable. The constitution can be made corrections. We can change the constitution or not the constitution, the articles. So that is flexible. And what is rigid? Rigid means we need a special permission, special procedures in order to make changes in the constitution. So that is called rigid. So the constitution that have special procedures for amendment are called rigid or complicated constitution. But dear students, ours is a constitution is neither too flexible nor too rigid. It is in between of the flexible and rigid. The third one is a parliamentary form of government. Ours is a parliamentary form of government. It is not managed by a single person. Like in the olden days, we had a monarchy system. It is not a monarchy system. We have a parliamentary. Any issues has to be taken, then it has to be discussed in the parliament, a group of ministers or members. So that is called a parliamentary form of government. So our constitution provides for a parliamentary form of a government, and the sovereign powers of the nation is vested in the elected parliament. So the parliament has got a sovereignty, so it has got its own powers. Sovereignty we studied in the last class. The nation shall not overpower by other nations. So that is sovereignty. Sovereignty means we rule ourselves, we are independent, so that is called sovereignty. And the executive is responsible to the legislature at the center, and the state is executive to make work. And the cabinet shall be in power as long as it enjoys the confidence of the legislature. If the legislature divides, then it has to give the resignation, the resign. Then we have to form another government. So that is the constitution provides a parliamentary form of government. Then the fourth one is republican system. What do you mean by republican system? A republican system is a form of a government in which the country is considered a public matter, not the private concern or property of the rulers. So it has become the opposing form of government to be monarchy, and therefore has no monarch as head of state. A republican state is belong to every citizen. So every citizen is responsible for ruling. So if this power is not there, then India will be in the hands of a few members or the rulers. So we should not give a chance for one person ruling. It became a dictatorship like Germany, Hitler. That should not repeat in our state, in our nation. That is why we have given this power of a republican state. So the constitution has declared India a republic. The head of the country is indirectly elected by the citizens. So we elect MLAs, MPs, and they elect one person as a head of the country. In India, the president is the constitutional head of the state, and he is elected. And he is not nominated, but he is elected by the people indirectly. So that is why we have this feature called republican state. Then the next one is federal system. What do you mean by federal system? So in federal system, political authority is divided between two autonomous sets of governments. So we see state and the center. In India, we see India is divided in center as well as the states. Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Telangana, Kerala. So they are the autonomous states or sets, and we have a center as well as the states. So this system is called as a federal system. So one national and the other subnational, both of which operate directly upon the people. So both have got the powers to act on the people. So that is why state and center we divide for the political purpose or the administrative purpose. That is why it is called as a federal system. So our constitution provides for a federal system of government because our country consists of different languages, castes, races, and geographical regions. In order to make easy administration purpose, we make this division. So administrative powers are shared with the center and the state government, and the Supreme Court possesses the powers to solve all the disputes rising between the center and the state, which respect to any subject. So Supreme Court is the highest, has got the highest power to solve any problems that are rising. Then we have a fundamental rights. So the rights that our constitution has given to the people are called as the fundamental rights. Each person has given the fundamental rights. So they are called as the fundamental rights. So no law of any government, central or the state, or any organization can deny these rights. So no government can take away the rights of the individual. So individual has got his own rights. So those rights cannot be taken by either central government or state government or any other organization. So if the government or if the fundamental rights are taken away from the individual, or if the individual is denied of rights, the citizen can directly appeal to the High Court or a Supreme Court. So these rights are listed in the third part of the Constitution. The next one is the fundamental duties. So duties are our responsibility towards our country. So we are responsible to do some duties for our country. That is a fundamental responsibility. So we have 11 fundamental duties that have been delineated, that is defined in the A part of the 4th chapter under the clause of the 51A of our Constitution. The 11 fundamental duties have been defined there. So through the 86th amendment to the Constitution in 2002, it has been made a duty of parents to provide a compulsory education to their children aged between 6 to 14 years. So 6 to 14 years of the children have to be educated. That responsibility is the parents. So this is the 11th duty mentioned in the Constitution. Then directive principles of the state policy. What are the directive principles of the state policy? So directive principles of state policy have been incorporated in the 4th schedule of our Constitution. The 4th schedule of our Constitution. So these principles have been adopted from the Irish Constitution. So we have principles that have been adopted, taken from the Irish Constitution. They are the basis for the establishment of the social economic equality. Social and economic equality to be vested to the people, and that has been incorporated in the 4th schedule of our Constitution, and that has been taken from the Irish Constitution. So they are the basic principles required for the administration of our country. These directive principles are the base which is used for the administration purpose of our country. Yet the government cannot be questioned by the court of justice if it does not implement them. Even if the government has not implemented these directive principles, the court or any other organization cannot question the government. But when the government frames new laws, it should pay attention to these principles. When it makes new policies, rules and regulations, it has to be incorporated, or government has to take attention to these principles also. So these are the salient features of our Constitution, dear students. And in the next class, let us study about the independent and centralized judiciary system. So till then, the students learn and read the chapter called Our Constitution in deeply. So thank you, dear students. Till then.